it'll not only help you be able to find and attract good talent and retain good talent, but it'll also make your business better. So I did some research. I found some great research out of the Gallup poll, and they came up with 6 points of what millennials want when it comes to a job or working.
And I think a lot of these won't surprise you.
Number one, millennials don't just want to work for a paycheck, they want purpose. Thriving in Tandem. It's a podcast for you, the married entrepreneur that wants to win in business and marriage at the same time.
Welcome to Thriving in Tandem.
All right. Here we are back with Thriving in Tandem, episode 183, and we are going to talk about millennials today, honey.
Oh, this is going to be fun.
And this is
so many people like to talk about the millennials.
And this is going to be the positive look at millennials. It's really about what do millennials have right. We're like the older generation, us Gen Xers and Boomers and all that, have really bagged, really spoke negatively about millennials, and now the Gen Zs, how they're lazy, they don't want to work, yada 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 yada, right? And to me, and I got caught up in that same thing too. And honey, you say the same thing. And I really had to take a step back and look at, are they really lazy? Or is that just opinions? And the reality is, as I did some research and even talking to millennials, and I'm even mentoring millennials right now, and they're not lazy. They're absolutely hard workers. It's just, I think they've been misunderstood because their values are very much in line with everybody else, but it's just that they're a little bit more vocal about how they want their values to be in their business, in their place of work, where they work. They have certain expectations that they want, which the old school business owner thinks, oh, you want too much and you're just lazy, whatever. But as we break this down, I think you'll see that the millennials actually have it right when it comes to job and work-life balance and all that stuff. And also, if you don't get on board with this, you're going to keep complaining. Mm-hmm. Because we also know, like clients of ours that have really embraced the values of the millennials, it actually makes them have a better business when they adjust to the desires of what millennials want. And as a matter of fact, we actually just preach that anyway of how you build this business. So we're kind of getting into general now, but let's get into this. Okay, honey?
Yes, let's get into it because, we'll give you a little bit of insight of how they tick. And you're right. We don't want to generalize and say that they're all lazy because, that's not the case at all.
Yeah, we've heard so much. And every time we talk to business owners, you're hearing the same thing over and over. And it's hard to find good help. People don't want to work, yada, yada, yada. And there's some truth to that. There's some people that just don't want to work, just want to collect some kind of, government welfare paycheck. And especially after COVID, when the government was paying you not to work, that just made things that much worse.
Well, because then we set people up, then they ended up not working. A lot of them couldn't. And then they didn't want to get off of it because you kind of get reliant on it, dependent.
Yeah. So if you're in that boat of complaining about, not being able to find employees and all that, and we hear this all the time, listen to this episode. And I think, and if you really embrace this, it'll not only help you be able to find and attract good talent and retain good talent, but it'll also make your business better. So there are 6, I did a little bit of research because I wanted to, I didn't want to just have my opinion about this. So I did some research. I found some great research out of the Gallup poll, right? So that's a pretty well-established, well-respected research company. And they came up with 6 points of what millennials want when it comes to a job or working.
And I think a lot of these won't surprise you.
If you really think about it for yourself, you're going to say, that's what I want for my business, right? So number one, millennials don't just want to work for a paycheck. They want purpose. Wherever they work, they want to feel like they're contributing to something bigger than just the job at hand, mm-hmm. right? And who doesn't want that? I mean, even for your business, don't you want have your business to have a purpose and a meaning beyond just making money?
Yeah, because if you have your own business, you don't want to just be working 8 to 5 with no purpose.
Yeah, it becomes very monotonous, just mundane, boring, right? And we've come across business owners where they're just, yeah, it's a business, right? They're not very happy about it.
Hmm.
And so,
Well,
yeah,
and I want to say too to the business owners, if you don't have a purpose, come up with one. Give yourself a reason to get up in the morning and be excited about going to your job, your
yeah.
business.
It's not like making it up, kind of making it up.
No,
It's really as every business has a purpose. And if you just look at face value, so whether it's call it a restaurant, and okay, you're serving customers food, right? But the purpose is you look at what it's doing for your customer. Like some people just need a break from cooking in the kitchen. You know, they want to bring their family for a
I
treat
need a break.
so they don't have to cook and clean and wash dishes, right? So just that alone, right? You're fulfilling some kind of need,
Hmm.
and you're really helping people just have a better moment in life where they don't have to work for it. Just enjoy the food, enjoy the company with each other. Um, that's a good purpose.
Enjoy the date night.
Enjoy date night. Exactly. You know, how many restaurants have been the scene of a proposal, right?
Yes.
I mean, think about that, that your restaurant is usually the start of a life of a family, right?
Hmm.
And so, so every business really does have a purpose if you really kind of break it apart and really, especially think about your customer and what your business provides for them, what your product and service really provides for them beyond just the product or service. And so, as an employee, they want to see how, I mean, when you communicate that, when you get it for yourself as a business owner, and then you can communicate to the employee that we're not just about serving food, we're about creating an experience for our customer. And think about all the different experiences and the reasons why people come into your restaurant. And there's
Hmm.
a variety of reasons, right? And then knowing that their job is not a job, but everything they do is contributes to the whole of the business and also ultimately the customer's experience, right? Even if they're in the back washing dishes, they don't realize the necessity of clean dishes,
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you can't eat
right?
anything without clean
Right?
dishes. It's so
I mean,
important. Or that's the
the
starting
customer
place.
is going to notice a dirty dish,
Or
right?
if there's no
If their
dishes
fork has a
washed.
piece of grime on it, right? You're right. So that's all part of the experience. So when the customer does not complain about the dish, then they can focus on the experience of being with each other.
Hmm.
And so being able to communicate that with your employees is just so important. So they understand the entirety of what they do to contribute.
Because a restaurant cannot run without clean dishes and dishwashers.
Yeah.
There's no
So
way.
number two, millennials are not pursuing job satisfaction. They are pursuing development. They just don't want to go there to just do a job. They want to grow as a person and even professionally. And how many times have we told pretty much all of our clients, like, what do you do for your employees that continues to develop them?
And I think this is an ongoing conversation you have to have the owners with the employees because it's going to be different for each individual one. And it might not be what you think it is.
Yeah, and that's why number three is they don't want a boss, they want a coach.
Oh, did I hop ahead?
No, it's fine.
Oh, okay.
I mean, just went quick, but that's okay. I mean, it just goes along with, I mean, everything ties together. All six of these points all tied together. So they want to be developed. So which means you can't be the boss, you can't be the manager. You want to be more of a coach,
Hmm.
right? It's not about just pointing out what they did wrong, but pointing out what they did right.
Hmm.
And then asking them, how do you want to grow in this job, in this business? And even if you have a small business, like say you only have 5 employees, and so it's not like you have different departments and different levels of leadership that they can grow to, but they can grow in responsibility, even if they don't change the title, but they can grow in responsibility. Which the reality is they would, deserve, earn and deserve, higher pay. But beyond that, it allows you to it gives you the opportunity to develop these employees to be better than just where they are. And people in general, not just millennials, but people in general want to be developed, right?
And I remember one of our customers asking, our clients asking their employees, and they said they wanted to get out of debt and be better with finances.
Yeah.
And that might not directly apply to their position, but it meant a lot to the employee.
Yeah.
And that's going to
And
be life changing and coming alongside coaching and developing them.
and actually being better at finances, getting out of debt will help the employee in the job because they're not stressed. Like if you help them get out of debt,
Mm-hmm.
they're not going to be as stressed as much, right? Because believe it or not, that weighs on you. And then they get more. They're more concerned about the money, how much they're making, and they start looking for other places to work that can pay them more money because they got all this debt. But when you can help their financial position, then all of a sudden it's not just about how much you pay, but now you've freed up some cash for them, and so they don't have to go looking for another job or a higher paying job. But also, over time, obviously you're going to give them a raise anyway, but it actually creates a lot more, not just job satisfaction, but they're being developed. They see that you care,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to want to stay.
Yeah, because you're establishing that relationship with them,
Yeah.
and they're opening up to you, and it's harder to leave a position. I know you stayed with your boss for years and you could have left anytime you wanted. He had
Yeah.
headhunters all the time calling you, but you really liked her.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm a good example of that because I was an employee too, and absolutely, when you have a manager that's more like a coach, and you know that they care about you and how you develop as an employee in your job, but also as a person, you do create more loyalty
Mm-hmm.
to to your boss. And so absolutely, all this stuff might sound foo-foo and I don't have time, yes, yada yada yada, but this is about employee retention now,
Mm-hmm.
right? But
And
also,
that's very expensive, having the turnover.
yeah. And so you find even an example you just gave about one of our clients, and I mean the team is loyal because they know the owners care.
Right. I remember one of the employees that they hired, he didn't know that well, and it seemed like they were pretty closed off and didn't want to talk, but he was able to draw him out. Now they've become really good friends, and they're able to have this communication, a deep communication, and he's able to help and develop him in different areas that he would have never thought of.
Yeah, and then that kind of goes to number four. Millennials don't want just annual reviews; they want ongoing conversations. So, as a coach, and if you want to help be a part of their employees' development, you have to have these ongoing conversations. And it's not like they're not always long conversations. It's like little check-ins,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you kind of know, like what we like to help establish with our clients is use these annual reviews as that big check-in about you know how are you doing, where do you want to go, how can we help you get there, and you create these metrics or goals and all that for their employees development. And it's not just about what you did wrong or right in the job, but it's like how do you want to be developed to grow. And certainly part of the review is going to be their job performance, but the big picture or the bigger aspect of these annual reviews is helping establish where they want to go and how you as an employer can help them get there.
Well, and too, when you're doing the review and you're giving them some different ideas or areas they need to improve in, if you've already had that relationship established with them, it's a lot easier to take that kind of critique.
Yeah, because when you're
Because I know you love me and you care about me.
yeah, when you're more of a coach and you're interested in their development, then those times where you do have to make correction, right, it gets received a whole lot better because how many of us have had an employer or manager that they're always just pointing out what you did wrong, right? I had one of
But
those.
they don't have any idea what's going on in your life. And maybe you're going through some hard times, but
Yeah,
they have no idea.
I mean, I certainly had one of those managers where they're just pointing out what you did wrong, and I called him the yeah but manager because he would praise you about something, but immediately follows it up with a but. Here's what you did wrong, and then it was really a setup. Like the praise in the front end was really a setup for the correction.
You're like, don't praise me. Okay.
So,
Because it's not really a
so
praise.
yeah, I didn't. So whenever he started to praise you,
You're like, uh
you're
oh.
waiting for the bomb to drop,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I call him the yeah but manager. So you'd never do that. Right? Don't use the praise as just a setup for a correction because otherwise, then the both doesn't get received very well. Both the praise or the correction doesn't get received very well. So when you're going to praise them for what they did right, and just leave it at that. Walk away.
Mm-hmm.
And then when there's time for correction, then that's just a separate conversation. But when you're pointing out more of what they're doing right, right, it, like again, then they're going to repeat what you want them to do, right? If you're only pointing out the negative, it's psychology. If you only point out the negative, they're going to repeat the negative,
Mm-hmm.
because whatever you point out, they're just going to repeat. So you might as well repeat more of the positive. It's just like, we have a dog. It's positive reinforcement. When I give positive reinforcement to our dog, then she will repeat that. And a lot of times she will just do things because she knows she's supposed to get a treat or a pet. So like she'll walk up to me, right? And she'll walk right up to me. And once she sees that I'm looking at her, she'll sit down, because I trained her early on when I first got her to sit down before I pet her, because she liked to she's small. So she wanted attention. So she kind of climb on your leg a little bit, get on her hind legs and hit your leg and with her front paws and kind of climb. And I didn't want her to do that. So I taught her to sit first and then I'll pet you. Right. So what happened was, with that positive reinforcement, right? I only pet her when she sat down. I didn't pet her when she was climbing on my leg. So now she'll just walk up to me and she'll sit down.
She's waiting for her pet.
So I have to pet her.
I don't know if you got her trained or she's got you trained, but
Well, but still, I mean, hey,
whatever, as long as it works, it's positive reinforcement.
Yeah, and it's cute, and she's not climbing on me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so she's doing exactly what I trained her to do. So of course, sure, why not? It's a pet; it's not a big deal. But anyways, all that to say is, positive reinforcement gets you so much further, and you'll end up seeing that they're gonna improve a lot faster, instead of just reinforcing the negative. So they don't just want review, they want ongoing conversations. Number 5 is what I kind of just talked about right now, is they don't want to just want you to point out and get you to fix their weaknesses. They want to develop their strengths.
Mm-hmm.
And we say that for everybody. Actually, when you talk about development as a person, as a leader, develop your strengths. We can't be great at everything, right? Like if we look at the DISC profile, the dominant high driver, the I is that very charismatic person. The S's are that teamwork person, the one that wants to really facilitate team and really care about other people. And then the C's are the analytical ones. So if you're a D, you're never going to be an analytical person unless you already have that kind of built in. You're never going to be a good analytical person. So you focus on your strengths. The fact that you're hard driving, hard charging is a strength in the business. Now, it can also be a weakness if there's too much of that, right? You become a narcissist. A D can become a narcissist if they're just a high D and have no empathy and don't care about other people. So we don't want that. But you want to leverage, right, the strengths of who you are. And so even as a leader, you want to do that. And also as your employees, as your team members, you really want to develop their strengths.
Well, and I think to the employees or the employers, sorry, owners, sometimes it's easier for somebody else to see your strengths than you.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that?
Well, yeah, because we kind of downplay our strengths because it's normal for us, and so therefore we think it's just kind of like everybody's got this.
So when you see that in somebody else, talk with them about it and see if they want to be developed in that area more, because they might not have thought about it.
Yeah, that's a good point. And so, yeah, really look for what are they really good at, and then develop that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then if you do that with all of your team members, then you're going to have a very efficient, productive team.
And you might realize too, they're in the wrong seat by doing this, because we go through the disc with all of our clients and we found that to be true in the past. Like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I should be doing in a different seat than I am right now presently.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, this will be good for your team in general to really assess everybody's strengths and weaknesses, and to really evaluate is everybody actually in the right seat. And if not, then there might be some rearranging of positions that will really make your business a lot more efficient, right? In business, if you really want to grow it well and be more productive and more profitable, efficiency is so undervalued,
Mm-hmm.
and including down to the people. So really understanding where people are really good at, your people are really good at, and really making sure they're in the right seat in their in the job, in the business, and then continue to develop those strengths.
And this could be like sending them to continuing education. I mean, there's all different kinds of things. We don't expect you to be a pro at everything and be able to speak into the life on every gifting there is, but there's all kinds of different programs, educations, teachings, coaches, all kinds of stuff out there that you can send them to work on being developed better.
Yeah, and so this number five, working on developing the strengths is part of number two. Is just really ongoing development, right? It's not about just these and reviews and you're making sure they do a good job, but it's really developing them. And when they see that, right? If you hopefully you notice, and you can go to the show notes if you have lost, if you didn't start taking notes in the beginning, but if you always look at the show notes, we have the top 6 here. But if you look at these 6 areas, you're going to see that this is stuff also that should apply to you as a leader. Having purpose, really continue developing yourself, getting a coach,
Mm-hmm.
right? We
Coaches have coaches.
Yeah, we have a coach. I have a coach. Having these ongoing conversations of where you're at in your development, and focus on your strengths, not your weaknesses. And then number 6, the last one is, it's not about a job, it's my life, right? Millennials, again, it goes to purpose. Number 1 and 6 are kind of bookended. Basically, it's kind of almost the same thing, but you spend a big chunk of your life in your job, right? The main part of your day is at work.
Mm-hmm.
And so because it's big part of your life, you want to be more fulfilled in it. And so, yes, you want this business, you want to develop a culture in your business in which people feel valued, they're being developed, they know you care, and that will create a lot of fulfillment for the millennial, and not just the millennial, it's everybody. Because this isn't just a millennial issue. I hope you realize that this is what I think everybody would want when they're working for an employer.
I know one of our clients, they are really intentional, I should say, about spending time with their employees. They go hunting together, they go fishing, because that's what the guys love to do. And so they are very intentional about making time to do that, because that brings them all closer together and they just have a great time, and it's great for the team, get to know each other better, let off some steam.
Yeah, and then next thing you know, now it's not a job anymore. It's not a business that they work for. It's really a family. It's a family atmosphere, right? And so, of course, I mean, they're small businesses. They have a team of about 5 to 7 or whatever. And some people might say, well, that's easier for a small business. But I can tell you, even in a larger corporation like I worked in, right, we may not be able to do something as a company, but we can do something as a district, right? In our sales district, there's 10, 12 of us. And so we could get together sometimes, and we did things, we did life. And and then even and even smaller still, there was 5 of us or 4 of us that would go golfing quite a bit, right? And so really encouraging that kind of stuff really develops the stickiness and the culture, and gives a strong culture in the organization.
And I remember when we got engaged, your boss gave us an engagement party for your whole district.
Oh yeah, for us.
Which
yeah.
I thought was fabulous. I mean, it was so nice of her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, it's not just a job; it's a life, right? Your business, you as an employer, you got to think of yourself as more than that.
Have fun together, you guys. Hopefully, you've hired people that you like and you want to be around.
Yeah.
Get to know better.
Yeah, and
do life with.
And so, really, the millennials kind of have it right. This is how you should be living your life. You're running your business anyway. You want to have a business with purpose. You're spending a lot of hours in this place, so you might as well make it a good experience. And if you make it a good experience for you, you'll make it a good experience for your team, and that you're going to retain good employees, number 1, and you're going to start attracting employees. Right, because
the word gets out.
The word gets out, and
they're like, "Hey, I want to go fishing with that company."
Yeah,
you know what I mean? They're always doing something fun and taking care of their employees.
Yeah, your good employees are a great source of referrals, because they would recommend somebody, number one, that they trust and they want to work with, because they also want to make sure that the people they work with they like and they're going to do work. Right.
And they're so loyal to you. I mean, if something comes up and there's a day that you really need them to work a little bit extra hours, or there's an emergency, they're so loyal to our clients that they'll just show up and help them whenever they can.
Yeah. And so hopefully you can see that if you kind of follow these 6 areas, really be intentional about addressing these 6 areas, you're going to not just retain good employees, but you're going to start attracting good employees. And then it's not going to be so much of a stress or burden to find. You're going to stop saying, can't find good employees. You're going to start seeing that they're going to be attracted to you, because word's going to get out, as you said, honey. And just your own team members are going to refer.
Well,
When you're looking for, you have an empty position to fill, most likely you're going to get a good referral from your team members.
and you're raising good employees.
Mm-hmm.
People don't just come into your job already knowing how to do the job necessarily and having all the qualifications. Sometimes you need someone that's loyal, it's got a character, that's honest. A lot of the skills you can teach them.
Yeah. And so it takes being intentional. I mean, I can already hear, a lot of our clients have said in the beginning, as we addressed these kind of things before, how to develop their employees, time was always an issue, right? They said, oh, we don't have time. And the first thing I said is, you're going to have to make the time, because it's an investment. In the front end, it's going to be a little bit more of a bigger time investment because, well, one, you're not used to doing this. So you got to figure out your routine of how to really be more of a coach versus just a boss. But then, and the investment's going to be big in the beginning, but later on, it's going to pay dividends, because your employees are going to be better, much more efficient, much more productive, happier, will show up. All the things that are disruptive when you have turnover or quote unquote lazy employees, whatever. Once that kind of atmosphere shifts, and once the mindset shifts around you as a developer of people, and then also the employees knowing that you care, there's going to be a huge return on the back end, and it's going to make life easier for you as an owner. You're going to be able to shift more responsibility to them, because not only can they handle it, but they want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Because you've equipped them.
I mean, how many clients have we had do that? Once they started shifting some of the responsibility to the employees, one, they want more, right? Mm-hmm. It goes back to development. They want to be developed. They want to do something new, something bigger. And so people want that. And you just got to be able to empower them to do that. So I hope this was helpful. And please go ahead and share this with another married entrepreneur that needs to hear this, because I'm sure you've heard from your fellow business owners the same grumbling about finding good help. Nobody wants to work. They're lazy, yada, yada, yada. But I can almost, I will do this. I will guarantee it's or your money back from this episode, that if you're intentional about addressing these 6 areas, you're going to see a difference in your business and the culture with your team. So how's that?
That's great, honey.
All right. So thank you for listening. Please share this, and we'd love a great review from you. And until next week, God bless. Thank you for listening to the Thriving in Tandem podcast. Please visit our website, marriedentrepreneur.co, for a variety of free resources to help your marriage and business succeed.
And feel free to leave us a review and share this episode with another married entrepreneur. That would mean so much to us.
See you next week.